In this, the third of 3 videos, I'm going to now show and demonstrate what it looks like to read the financial report of a state. I randomly chose the state of Ohio for no reason. It is no different than any other state. It's just the one that I happen to choose. And in this, we can see it is a PDF. You can see right at the top, this is a PDF and it's an ACFR and ACFR. This is 2021. And this stands for the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. So you can think about this as the 10K of the state, just as I showed you the Apple 10K. The only difference is that instead of it being uploaded to a centralized location, you get it at each of the state's websites. It is all reported in a PDF version. If you were to simply go to the website and look at it, there would be nothing interactive about it. However, if you go ahead and download it to your computer, you can have a find function to look for different information. So you could type in, say, the word, let's go for an litigation. Let's go see if there's anything about litigation in here and see if the state does have 22 places that has litigation. Now you have to go through and do a search one by one in order to find out. You don't have anything along the side here that helps you to identify what type of litigation or what specifically related to litigation you want to have. So you can go ahead and look and go one by one. It is under contingencies and commitments, but you can look. Now that's not bad, but let's take a look and see what if we wanted to find out about the word revenue. And we wanted to see 401 different ways. Well, this one, 227 places where the word revenue. And so you would have to look through it this way. This would be your best bet for trying to search some of the data. But there's also other things which are not searchable. So what happens is when the state releases, or it could be a city or a county releases their annual comprehensive financial report, some of the information is entered into the PDF in a manner of which you could do a search on it, but some of it is entered as if it were a picture. Now, I'm not sure. I'm going to go ahead and type in the term hedging derivative, and we'll see if this comes up. I'm not sure. Sometimes it will come up, and let me make sure I spelt it right. That's always important. We'll put another V, a TIV, hedging derivatives. So there are some hedging derivatives. And it did show up. But sometimes the way the state or the city has put this in, they're putting it into the report as if it were a picture, not a searchable document. They took a snapshot of it from another document and pasted the snapshot into the financial report. So in this case, it was not done that way. It was done in a manner of which we could search it, but often you'll find that you cannot search it. It was there as a picture, and you may not be able to bring it up even if you wanted to. So there is that. You have no, the only index that you have is up above here. You can see that you can look for some pages. You could enter in the pages, but let's go ahead and try that and see what the problem is. It says descriptions of the non-major discretely presented component unit funds. Okay, it's on page 256. So I want to go to page 256. Let's see what I pull up on page 256. And we don't see the discretely presented funds. And the reason is because this goes to PDF 256. But when we do that, we look and we see what page is it actually from the numbering. 236. It isn't page 256. The PDF number, if you wanted to search, was 256 or 258. So if you actually want to get to the page 256, you could potentially do a search, find the text, and you could go to page 256, and that may take you, and there we go. We see it down here. So you have to figure out different ways to search for the information that you are looking for, because it may not, there we go, major discretely presented component unit funds on page 256, which is actually PDF 278. So that's complex. There's nothing which is highlighted, nothing which is interactive, nothing which tells us any background information. Furthermore, the problem is if I go to the financial statement, let's go ahead and we're going to go to the index. I've got to scroll up in order to get there. I can't just do some type of a change, but we can look at look for the financial statement that might resemble what we would see on the balance sheet, which we saw when I was doing the previous video. And I apologize, but this is how we have to search. And the balance sheet in the financial statements for government, we've got balance sheet, governmental funds. Let's go ahead and go to page 26 and see what we've got. These are for fund financial statements. The statement of net position is the same term as a balance sheet, but we'll go to this. So we'll go to page 26. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to find the text, page 26, so I can get to that page rather quickly, because it's on page 30. The truth of the matter is it's on page 30. So, or there we go. On page 48, actually, you can see how the different numbers. But this is very similar to what I showed you before with the balance sheet. Here we've got our assets, we've got our liabilities. We don't have equity because we don't have anything called equity in the government. What we have is at the end here, let's go ahead and scroll down. We basically have what we call fund balances. That's what, is there a deficit in the fund balance, or is there an actual balance? And that's the difference. That's an accounting difference that you would see between a publicly traded company and a government. But take a look. We whether you're looking at words, we don't know the definition of cash equity, cash equivalents. We were able to see how they define cash equivalents or investments. We click on the numbers. We're not sure exactly where they came from. And furthermore, unlike the 10K that I showed you, where I could click on an Excel button and I could download it into Excel so I could do some comparative analysis. Let's say you want to invest in some municipal bonds. You're thinking you want to, instead of investing in a publicly traded company, you want to lend a government money. That's what a bond is. A bond is a security that is released from companies or governments, where if you have a equity security for a publicly traded company, it allows you to be a part owner in the company. That's what stock is. A debt security says, I'm going to lend this entity money, and in return, they will pay back the amount I lent them plus a steady stream of income. So one of the things investors and creditors can do is invest in debt securities with governments. And one of the reasons they do that is because the interest is potentially tax-free. You do not have to pay taxes to encourage you to invest in that government debt security over, say, another type of a debt security. So let's say that you want to invest in one of these governments and you're a little bit worried as to how are they doing? Does this government have enough money to pay me back? Should I be in giving them money? Well, the only way for you to do that is to look through these stagnant PDFs and determine whether or not they are a good investment. They are solvent. Do we want to invest in this government? There's no downloading it to Xbrl capabilities into Excel and comparing it in a side-by-side analysis. You have to do a manual transference of the information. So what does that look like when I say a manual transference? Let me go ahead and show you another screen. So this is just a snapshot of one of the screens we do at Truth in Accounting. And it is literally every number you see. These are from cities. This is part of our state and our city analysis. We do this with state annual comprehensive reports. Every one of these numbers we had to manually enter. We have to go through that PDF, find the number, and enter it. And to ensure that we haven't made mistakes, we have 4 different individuals look over each number separately. So one person enters it in, then another person looks at it, and then another person looks at it, and then yet another does, to make sure that there are no errors. Because once you have human beings transferring money transferring numbers, you are susceptible to errors. unlike machine readable data where you can simply click a button and it is transported in. So that's one of the things that makes our work at Truth in Accounting so difficult, is because the data is not machine readable and must be manually transferred by humans. So let me go ahead back to that, or to the ACFR, the Ohio ACFR, and that's what we're looking at. We're looking at this manual transfer. Plus, it's not easy to search for certain information that if you want, it doesn't give you anything, that kind of background information to see where the data came from. We can't go to an easily searchable index and pull up whatever we want. You can click all you want and it isn't going to take you anywhere. It's hard to reconcile the PDF number to the page number in the document. They don't match up. You aren't able to easily compare the data. If you don't know how to read these statements, you do not know how to pull out the information, it is virtually impossible. So that's what the hubbub is. That is why we have been in such support of the new legislation coming out of Congress. It's the Financial Data Transparency Act. We have been writing letters in support of it because basically what Truth in Accounting would like to see happen is to have the same transparency in governmental reporting, the same tagging of data, the same sharing of information that you see with publicly traded companies. And because the governments haven't been willingly wanting to do this, senators have sponsored joint legislation. Senator Crapo out of Idaho and Senator Warren, Senator um, uh, oh, out of Virginia have been, and I'm sorry, the name is just escaping me right now, are co-sponsoring this legislation to mandate governments in a phased approach to do the same type of tagging of their data, making the information machine readable, making the information exportable, so that there is the same type of ease for taxpayers and investors and creditors to read these financial statements as investors and creditors do with publicly traded companies. So that's what we are talking about in the articles we're writing and in our passion for Xbrl. I hope this short tutorial has helped you. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us at Truth in Accounting, and we'd be happy to either prepare follow-up videos or answer any questions that you may have.